Well, a double dose of our daytime book club today. We have two authors from the Knoxville area that will be participating in a special event at the Generalist in downtown Johnson City. We want to welcome to the show Patricia Hudson, author of Traces, and Susan O'Dell Underwood, author of Genesis Road, to the show. Ladies, great to have you.
Thanks for having us.
Always fun when we welcome someone in from not too far down the road. You said kind of the Knoxville area, Jefferson City. And you two have known each other for a while as authors. How long?
Decades. Decades now.
At least 30 years. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So friends and doing this event together. How did this all evolve?
Well, we were invited by Davis Shoulders, who is trying to get a book business going up here in Johnson City. And we both have written books about women's journeys, different time periods, but it's you know, sort of similar focus.
Okay, and it's great to have you, and we're going to tell you all about that event coming up tomorrow night. But let's talk a little bit about your books. We'll start with you and Traces, and I like that you said women's journeys, but for you, sort of the women in Daniel Boone's life.
That's correct. I read a biography of Daniel Boone years back and realized the women weren't really there. And of course they were, you know, they should have been. And so Traces is a retelling of the Daniel Boone saga from the perspective of Boone's wife Rebecca and her two oldest daughters, Susanna and Jemima. And I kind of liken the whole, the story to Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire, the old saying about Ginger did everything Fred did, only backwards and in heels. And so these women on the frontier went through all the same hardships and adventures that the men did, but just were never really recorded in the historical record. So
no one shared their stories until you came along, and you found the very powerful roles that they played.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, the men often were out doing the adventuresome things, but when you think about it, the women you know, had to not just take care of themselves, but also an ever-expanding brood of children, usually. I mean, on the frontier, the families were large.
Wear a lot of hats, play many different roles, like we do today.
That kept people alive. When you read her book, you're just spellbound by how these women helped everybody survive. You know, and they went through some deaths and loss, too. They were on those front lines.
The strength that the women had.
And the research was really between the lines. I call it finding the stories between the lines, because there was a study in 2020 that the average American history curriculum only includes about 10% of the curriculum has anything to do with women.
10%.
10%.
That is sad.
It is.
And your book, sort of Genesis Road, tells the story of a woman really experiencing hardships and strength and pulling herself through.
Absolutely. It's another story of resilience. She's had from Newport, Tennessee, and lives in Knoxville for her career, but hasn't ever been out of Tennessee very much, but loses her home to a fire and has some loss, and decides to go on a journey out west into the American West with her best friend from childhood. So we both wrote these travel novels, these journey novels, but definitely different time periods.
And reading Susan's book, it was so fun. I read it during COVID, and when we were all locked down, and it was like a vacation. You know, it was doing what you couldn't do in real life. You were able to do.
And taking that journey. And as you both come together and you discuss each other's books, like almost like a book club, which is what we do here on Daytime. I love that you found the differences and the similarities in the books and the shining women that are there. I know yours, in the end, finds peace through the hardships, finds that way.
Definitely. Yeah, there's a lot of redemption at the end of the book, a real going home.
Just so powerful. Well, we are so glad that you were able to join us on the show today, and we're excited that you're here in Johnson City. We're going to give everybody the information. They're doing a reading, a special event, all coming up tomorrow night, 7 p.m., right there at the Generalist, which is just down the road from us here at WJHL, 248 East Main Street. Lots of fun things in downtown Johnson City. Go grab a bite to eat and come check it out.